the rough ashlar is already perfect. It's perfect. It doesn't have to be cut and carved and squared, trimmed. In nature made it the way it is, and we don't have to do anything to it.
Hello and welcome to 22 Steps into Spirituality based on ancient Masonic wisdom with our wonderful guest speaker, Chris Earnshaw. Hello and welcome back, Chris.
Thank you very much.
We have today episode 16, and like always, dear viewers, it's a 22 series, so please go backwards, forwards, enjoy this, I think, quite unique collection of practical information. Is based on the new book that will come out of Chris, so we're all getting here a sneak preview. And it's practical, it's hands-on. I think it's a one-of-a-kind collection on the internet of ways to develop your spirituality. So I'm looking forward for this wonderful lesson after our pendulum madness in the lesson 15. So let's see what we're going to learn today in lesson 16. It's the floor is for you.
So we're now moving into stage 4 of the book, which is in 5 stages. And this is Mastership. And that means embodying the light. So this lesson 16, we're talking about the rough and perfect ashlar. So in Masonic terms, we talk about moving from the rough ashlar. Ashlar is a square, that's actually a cube of stone that's used in a building. And so artisans in the old days used to cut the sides of the stone with a chisel. There's a word for it, and I've suddenly forgotten. I forgot what the word is. Anyway, so you cut, but we use one of the imperfect stones in the lodge. We call this the rough ashlar. And then we have the perfectly cube stone, the perfect ashlar. And in Masonic terms, we talk about moving from the rough to the perfect, or the refined stone. So how we do this is through our education in the lodge and studying morality and other subjects that are brought up when you're a Freemason. In Taoism, the uncarved block is actually shaped by the Dao. By nature has created that rough stone. And so one of the important things to remember is that many Masons, they think that the uncarved rough stone it's imperfect, and the perfectly cubic stone is perfect. And so therefore they think it's imperfect, therefore there's nothing to learn from it. And that is wrong, because in Daoist terms, this uncarved rough stone was carved naturally from the movement of rivers and the air and rock falling down the mountains. And these stones, this is what it is. And I believe, and I wrote about it in my last book, which is Freemasonry Further Light. I wrote a chapter on this, that the rough ashlar is already perfect. It's perfect. It doesn't have to be cut and carved and squared, trimmed. In nature made it the way it is, and we don't have to do anything to it. So there's a kind of arrogance in Western alchemy that they felt that they could improve on nature by chiseling it. Or, for example, in alchemy, their idea was to take the base metal of iron and they go through the process of changing it into iron and tin and then copper and brass and bronze or whatever, coming finally to gold. And they believed that in the natural system, the natural way of things, that iron eventually turns into gold underground. And that's the only reason they saw that, is because when they dug mines or something, they could see iron in the rock in seams. There were lines they could see it in the rock, and they could also see gold in the rock. And they just naturally thought that one became the other. And that alchemy was speeding up the process of iron becoming gold. And that's what alchemy was all about. So in the Freemasons, they also felt that the rough had to be shaped into the cube. And it's not true. In Taoism, they say that the uncarved block holds great potential. And that's it. It has the potential to be a cube. It has the potential to be a rectangle. It could be a diamond shape. It could be any shape it wants to. That's its potential. So we don't have to force our opinions upon it. So this is one of the lessons that I find difficult. People feel that you are going from chaos to clarity. From the rough to the perfect is going from chaos to clarity. But I don't agree that it is actually chaos. I think there is a lot to be said for the potential of the stone in its final position. I think that when we talk about Masonic, the allegory of self-improvement, we don't have to look upon the cube and say, that's what I want to be. You should look at the potential in the uncarved block. And this also has a level of refinement to it. That it's just that we don't understand, we don't see in those terms. What I would recommend a person to do in this class, think about how things were before you changed it, before they got complex, before the ego got involved. Sometimes true transformation is not an addition. It doesn't have to be, it's the word I remember now is, they call it dressing a stone. You dress a stone by chiseling it down, making it square. And it doesn't have to be removal. It's more understanding how the two had potential in both shapes, in the rough form and in the perfect form. They also represent in my book, I talk about it in other books, that the rough ashlar represents unrefined energy. That is the Tao. But the dressed stone, which is perfectly cubic, represents the teachings of Confucius. And Confucius said that you need to refine yourself like an artist carves a block of jade. And so you've got the two opinions of the stone, the carved stone or the perfect stone. They're both teaching things, just a different way of looking at the lessons. I think it'd be a good idea to use this lesson as a time for reflection, how your life was a year ago and how things have changed. Is there something that needs to be dressed or polished? Or are you willing to accept the rough and the perhaps more difficult, but the area of potential, I think? So that's the lesson for lesson 16, the rough and smooth, perfect ashlar.
If I might just to put my own thoughts into this for a second, because I've been thinking about this quite intensively over the last couple of months. And I think this is a fundamental problem, exactly what you said, that in Western philosophy, or as you said, Western alchemy, that there is a fundamental misunderstanding about the refinement. And I think this is creating enormous amounts of problems in people's minds, that they think about this refinement and purity versus that natural roughness. I exactly think this is one of our core fundamental issues. And it helped us maybe develop technologically wise and helped us maybe develop in so many different forms to build these modern societies. But I think ultimately it will be our downfall, or potentially our downfall as well. So I think you talk about something really critical here, actually.
Yes. So it's one of the difficulties is that in Freemasonry, they tend to look down on the rough ashlar, and then they only look at the perfected ashlar. I'm saying you we look at them both, they both have lessons to teach us.
That's exactly the point. Thank you for bringing this up, and I think we all should reflect on it, because these days when some crazy narcissistic billionaires trying to create a new golem, then I think we are all under enormous pressure of having reliving a nightmare which we thought we have already long time past.
Yes.
Thank you so very much, Chris, and thank you so much for listening to us today, and we're looking forward for your comments. If you're also worried about the new golems the people play around with, please leave us a message. We're happy to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much, Chris.
That's it.